So I'm going to bring up Rudy. So this is a directed course. We've done this a couple of times before. It works a little bit different. It does have the scheduled times and places just so I can talk about. But what it is sort of, if I was the cake, here I'm using more food analogy, but if I were the cake, this is the icing on the cake. And it's intelligent lighting. So I'm going to, now that I set that up, I'm going to bring Rudy up to have a talk about it. And by the way, Rudy is more than happy to show you all that cool stuff he has back there later on.
Yeah, we're going to lend some light bulbs in the course. This is going to be exciting. I start with the question, how many lights, street lights, are in the city of San Jose? Just a guess. 10,000? 2,000? Higher.
More than that.
Yeah.
30,000?
30,000. Who said 30,000? More or less? How about you? 30,000?
Something like that.
Okay. 62,000. 62,000 streetlights. How many are in New York? New York.
More than 7.
Yeah. How about, let's start with 100,000. More or less than 100,000. Who is offering more? 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 200,000. More? Less? 100,000?
500.
500. 250,000. So 250,000 streetlights in New York. So how many light points do we have in the US? Light points, lights, not including cars. Street lights, light bulbs, traffic lights, house lights, parking lot. Guess. Millions? A billion.
30 million.
Billion. 8 billion.
8 billion?
8 billion light bulbs. 8 billion light points. Only a few of them, less than 1%, is intelligent, is connected. So what we are doing in this class, we're teaching you the skills to start connecting things. You're using lights simply because everybody can see it. There's no reason to use lights. You could use anything. You could use door locks, sirens, motors, windows, anything. This course is going to give you the skills to understand how to connect things together. Manipulate the data analysis. Do something with the data. In our course, we turn on lights that change the color or turn on the door locks. That's what we do in this course. And when you're done with this course, I could be one of your hiring managers. I work at IDT. I hire people, and what I'm looking for is skills that are hands-on skills, practical skills, and understanding and the mindset of how to get things done. Because we need to get things done. We need to provide results. Why? Because we have competition. You're competing with other companies in other countries. You need to produce more, better things with the same skills or better skills. So what we are trying to teach are the skills that help companies like mine to compete in the global markets. That make sense? So what we are doing is we are introducing this technology to you that is further ahead that the universities could teach you. Because this technology is relatively new. By the time the courses would be through regular academic systems, they're likely already outdated, or there's better things you can get the same results with. So we are trying to bridge that gap, the gap that Cecil was talking about, the skills gap. So this course that is introduced to you by industry leaders, it helps you to close that gap. So you are competing, you have a better chance against your competitors when you interview for a job. That's really what this is all about. So this is why you're doing it. So now, what are we doing? Well, we are connecting input data from sensors or from the database, or just look out at the camera and detect the status, what it is today. Then we figure out what we want it to be. For example, well, it's getting dark outside. What do we want it to be? Well, we want the lights to turn on, right? Very simple skill. Very simple example. So what is in between? In between is the logic, the data analysis, the data collection, that decides what to do. So now, in the olden days, you looked out the window, it gets dark, you walk to the door, and you turn the switch on, right? This is yesterday. We are now in a global world. I can switch on a light in Penang, Malaysia from my computer right there. And that's totally normal. That's what we do today. We turn things on and off anywhere in the world because everything is getting connected. So what we are teaching here is how light works, how your eye receives light as a sensor. We talk about different sources of light. We talk about different light sources. Light bulbs, fluorescent, LED, laser, plasma lamps. We introduce all those. Then we show you what you can do with them or what you cannot do with them. We show you the purpose of lights versus others. For example, you would use different light sources for, let's say, the meat counter in the supermarket, and you would use in your car, right? The meat counter in the supermarket has lots of red, which doesn't help you when you drive a car, right? There's not a lot of red out there. Then we are connecting this together with wireless communication networks. This is what my colleague, Dan Newbies, will introduce to you. We talk about wireless communication. We talk about link budgets. We talk about antennae. We talk about various different wavelength propagation budgets, as well as protocols. So you will also learn how you get data across a space with wireless communication. And then we are putting everything together in a capstone project where we actually get together in one of those meetings and create a project together that then will be introduced in a final, we call it a Shark Tank presentation, or we also can do an interview kind of a style presentation where you plead to judges to either fund your Kickstarter or to hire you as an intern or as a full-time employee. So that's what we are doing. So the exciting stuff is we are learning about LED technology. We are looking into what's in the LED itself. We are actually blending in an LED light bulb so you see what's inside of it. We're looking in what it takes to connect to an LED and actually illuminate it. Because if you put an LED into a light socket, like you would do with a light bulb, it's a big surprise. And you may actually have that surprise. We keep it safe, though. So we'll be sure you will be safe. And then at the end, we hope that you have something you can take away, you can put in your resume, and you can show your friends, parents, and your future employers. So that's what we are trying to do. So we give you an all-around understanding of a thing that when I'm a hiring manager, I will be asking you for. And I would be asking you to show me what you have done at school as well as outside of school. What are your interests? What is your mindset? How do you go after solving a problem? Where do you start? How do you get to a result? Do you have the skills to get this result? If you don't have the skills, what questions will you ask to get it? So this is the idea of this course. So it's called Intelligent Lighting. It's a CIS 98. And we will start February 5th, 10 a.m. in the Peters. Yes.
This course includes only on light sensors only and another sensors also in this course.
So there's, what is your course, 108?
108, yeah.
So CIS 108 is about environmental sensing in IoT as well. So this is a focus on environmental sensing and a focus on intelligent lighting.
By the way, to answer your question, it doesn't mean you can exclude other sensors. In fact, I use lights within an environment because I can turn lights on and off from red and blue, whatever I need to if the environment were to change. So there's a little bit of crossover, but you know, the intelligent lighting will focus on that whole area of lighting. It's the icing on the cake.
So yeah, you can collect data with sensors, or you just can use data that's available. For example, you go on Google or Yahoo and say, hey, is it sunny today or is it raining today? And that's usually enough information for you to do something with it. If you need real-time data that's complete, correct, consistent, and real-time, then a sensor would be helpful. So you get this information directly. Many times today, however, it's enough to just go into a database somewhere in the world and get the information. You had a question?
Should we take both the courses, CIS 108 and 98 both?
You can. This is 2 icings on the cake to get the icing into sprinkles too.
Oh, but then, the timing and the date.
Yeah, you want that?
That's okay because yeah, they should be exactly the same because there's commonality. For example, the Nexus is IDT, so you don't want to take 2 days. These engineers are working full time. And so we'll do both at the same time. So you're absolutely right. And the answer to can you take them? Oh yeah, great.
Just one additional comment I wanted to add, and I forgot to mention it earlier. If you flip through that handout I did an hour later, you'll see a page that says IoT Global Innovation Contest. And this is a program that will run once a year in the spring, and contestants, people, you, teams, right, like the student team will be part of a map. You can enter if you want, right? So it's a global contest. So people will be competing for up to $50,000 of scholarship or entrepreneurial money. We've had several student teams that did so cool on these projects, they wanted to continue. They weren't done. It's only 14, 16 weeks to make it into a better prototype or maybe even a product somehow. And this is one mechanism where you need a little money to do that, right? If you have a cool idea, you want to do it. And the reason I mention it now is I encourage you to take both of these courses. They're complementary and they are a little different, right? Cecil's course, you're going to learn a little bit about everything. The Intelligent Lighting course, you're going to use the same exact things, but it's much more specific. You're going to build a very specific thing, which really will do it. Now, if you tackle both those courses, you will definitely have the skills to enter that contest. Now, you may not want to, but if you've got those 2 skills, you will have the qualifications to put some type of a submission as an individual, as a student team, or whatever, something like this.
Thank you, great. Yeah, there's real money. So I'm going to take a minute to just, I'm sorry.
Well, if you take both courses, there's going to be 2 different projects. Now, since you have a lot of, so this is really a question for you, Rudy. Hey, do you have to work in 2 different projects, which could be daunting? It's possible it could be the same, but you've got other students. Well, why don't you address that question?
So regarding the capstone projects, if you come after the show, back to my table I set up, in addition to the blender I brought, you also see a little box, which is the capstone project kit, which gives you all the equipment that you need to participate in the final projects. So we have 3 paths in this project, in the lighting. And there's also another path that goes over to the sensing course as well. So the 3 paths are an individual project that you basically say, hey, I have a great idea. I use this capstone project kit to build this idea. But I don't want to share it with anyone, and I don't want to work in a team. I do better by myself. That's one. There's the second one where you say, we focus on if this, then that. It's basically if a tree falls over in China, I want to be sure somebody in Europe plants one. There's always a if this, then that. If I leave the house, I make sure that the garage door is closed. So what that is, it's the contextual awareness that is allowed by IoT to happen. IoT is really all about contextual awareness, connecting devices, making decisions, changing things to what you want it to be. If this, then that. And the third one is actually focusing on wireless communication. We are having a wireless network that we're building up in this capstone project. We call this a 6-low-pan network. We tell you all about that, but it's a self-healing mesh network. So if you want to focus instead of IoT or lighting, if you want to focus on RF communication, high-frequency wireless communication, there's a path for that as well. That project will be based on a group, a team, because a mesh network relies on multiple nodes connecting together. So you need to have other team members to have more capstone project kits to connect together. Then there's projects that you can overlap or cross-connect with the sensor course. So you can get together with the team that takes the sensor course, or the sensor course team can connect with our intelligent lighting team to produce a project that senses data, connects it wirelessly together, and controls some light somewhere in the world. So these are the 4 things that we offer based on your personal interest, your skills, what you want to what you want to learn, or who are you with in the course. Make sense?